Hey everybody, this is Chris Sussman, otherwise known as the Barbecue Buddha, and you're back with my YouTube channel. This time we're covering how you cook a bone-in prime rib roast. Look at this gorgeous hunk of meat. This is a 4-bone, that means there are 4 bones inside this rib roast, and this is about 10 pounds. It's from Snake River Farms. It's a delicious cut of meat. And I'm going to show you the easiest way to get a perfect centerpiece for your table. If you're seeing this when I post it, we're closer to the spring than we are to the holidays. But if you're viewing this at holiday time, this is the go-to way to cook a prime rib roast on your big green egg. You're going to get a little bit of smoky flavor. You're going to get that delicious crust. You're going to have a perfect pink or a medium rare interior, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So the very first thing you want to do is you want to get this prime rib roast out of the packaging at least a day before, if not 2, before you plan to cook it. Why? Because we're going to salt this baby, put it in the fridge on this wire rack overnight, and then we're going to season it tomorrow with an herb butter mixture and cook it on the big green egg with just a teeny bit of smoke. And you're going to have a final product that is beyond delicious. Now, many people ask me, why do you dry brine, or why do you salt a large cut of meat the day before? Well, here's how it works. You take about a teaspoon of salt per pound. This is 10 teaspoons of salt. We're going to cover this whole thing in salt and put it on a wire rack. The salt is going to start working its way into the muscle fibers, and while it's doing that, the muscles, the internal muscles of the meat, is going to start expressing moisture. As that moisture meets the salt, that works its way into all the muscle fibers, preserving moisture and working flavor and tenderizing the meat. Even with an incredible cut like this, you can't go wrong with dry brining. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to salt this baby overnight, wire rack, because that lifts the roast above the sheet pan, and then air will get underneath it. So you're not going to have the moisture that's being expressed from the salt leaking out onto the pan and causing the meat to get soggy and mushy on the bottom. I like to tie up my roasts with butcher twine. Again, I get asked that question a lot, but I'll show you the cross section right here of the ribeye. This is the spinalis dorsal, or the ribeye cap. This is the longimus dorsal, or the eye of the ribeye. And when you cook a large roast like this for a long period of time, it starts to move, and then you don't get that pretty looking steak or cut that you're used to when you're slicing a roast. When you simply butcher twine right around the roast, it holds that meat into place, so as it cooks, it tightens up, and the steaks look really pretty when you cut them and serve them for the holiday time. So that's why you salt it overnight. That's why you use butcher twine. Let's get going. Tomorrow I'm going to take this out and we're going to cook it up on the big green egg, and you are going to look like a star of your next gathering with this 4-bone, 10-pound prime rib roast. We're going to get this roast onto this wire rack. We're going to put it bone side down so the air gets nice and even with the surface of the meat, the fat cap. And we are going to get this in the refrigerator. Tomorrow you'll come back. We'll start right here. We'll take this out of the refrigerator. We'll light up the big green egg. We'll roast this, and you will see how easy it is and how I will remove any intimidation you have of cooking the perfect prime rib roast on your big green egg. So stay tuned. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, everybody, I'm back. It's the next day. Now, before I get started with prepping the meat for the big green egg, I want to show you how I'm going to do this. I'm going to create an herbed butter. Now, why use an herb butter? First of all, butter is delicious. Mrs. Buddha always says her favorite thing in the world is butter. Well, maybe it's Mr. Buddha, and maybe it's Obi and Yoda, our little French bulldogs. But in a close third or fourth, it would be butter. But I digress. Let's get back to the recipe. We're gonna roast this big old hunk of prime rib beef that has been sitting in the fridge overnight. It's been out on the counter for about 2 hours. You can see the color looks a little weird. It's only because it's been dry brining in the fridge on this wire rack overnight. It's a great foundation for all this flavor. So before we cover this roast with this herb butter mixture, we've got to make this herb butter mixture. All right, so to make this herb butter, it's simply, I've had these 2 sticks of unsalted butter. You always want to use unsalted butter because you want to be able to salt this seasoning on your own. You don't want any salt in there doing that for you. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I have about 10 cloves of garlic. They were medium-sized cloves. If they're bigger, go less. If they're smaller, go more. But I like lots of garlic. I'm putting 10 cloves of medium-sized garlic inside of my garlic herb butter. Now, I have some thyme and fresh rosemary that I minced and mixed together. I'm gonna take 2 tablespoons of that. Remember, it's herbs that are already mixed up. And then finally, you could use salt, pepper, you could use your favorite steak seasoning and or rub. I love Dizzy Pig Cow Lick. It's my favorite steak rub. So I'm gonna use 2 generous tablespoons of that rub. So there you go. That's what I have for the rub. Now I'm gonna take a fork and I'm just gonna mix all that together. So remember, we've got this gorgeous piece of meat. The bone side is down, the fat cap is up. We're just gonna get this butter all over the meat. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We have this roast covered in this delicious herb butter. This prime rib roast has been rubbed with that delicious softened herb butter and that Dizzy Pig Cow Lick seasoning. You want to cook this roast for about 15 minutes per pound at 350 degrees. I'm not reverse searing it. I'm not gonna sear it. I'm just roasting this. This is the holidays. You want it easy. You don't want to be out there on the grill slaving away. You want to put this on your grill. You want to get delicious flavor. I've got a little pecan wood chips that I put on there. This is going to be delicious. It's going to look delicious. 2.5 hours. Let's go out and see how I set up the big green egg, and we'll get her up to 350 degrees, which is our target temperature. Come on. All right, so I lit the lump charcoal right in the middle. It's been about 10 minutes. I've got a decent flame going. I'm gonna add a few handfuls of these pecan smoking chips. I like pecan wood with beef and smoking chips for a shorter cook like this one. So we've got the egg stabilized. Big green egg extra large is stabilized at 350 degrees. The top vent is about 3/4 of the way closed. The bottom vent is about 2/3 of the way closed. So that's the setup. This should hold the temperature of the big green egg at 350 for the entire time. Now we're gonna take this lovely roast that I've rubbed with that herb butter mixture, and we're gonna put it inside the big green egg. You wanna place it bone side down. All right, everybody, just like I said before, at 15 minutes per pound, this 10-pound roast took 2.5 hours. Look at this gorgeous roast. Look at that crust. I didn't sear it. I didn't reverse sear it. I roasted this on the big green egg at 350 degrees for 2.5 hours, and that crust couldn't be any more beautiful. I can't wait to cut into it. Ooh. It's at this point that I realized I should have taken off the bones before trying to slice this rib roast. Lesson learned. I've learned something here on camera. There's a bone running across the bones of the ribeye I couldn't cut through. But I removed the bones here, moved that to the side, and now cutting these steaks is easy peasy. Look at that gorgeous roast. Perfect pink interior, gorgeous crust. I can't wait to dig into this. All right, so I taught you how to cook your prime rib bone-in roast. We learned something new today, to remove the bones before you slice the roast. So let's go ahead and do this Buddha bite and get her home. I'm gonna take off a nice big piece of this spinalis dorsi. Get myself a bite of this ribeye cap, ladies and gentlemen. Cheers. If you like this video, please leave me some comments down below. If you want to subscribe to my channel, hit the subscribe button right here to the left. And until we eat again, cook something good for me. Have a great one.